So, today we are tackling a topic that can feel extremely isolating, which is recovering from narcissistic abuse or life after a cult, and the intense shame that often holds survivors back. It's not easy, and I know that this can hit close to home for many people because these experiences don't just affect us physically, they weigh heavy on our minds and hearts, making recovery feel like an impossible task. But before we get into it, let me introduce myself. I'm Jen Hachia, and on this channel, we explore the complexities of psychology and manipulation in both relationship and professional settings. And then we discuss it in the comments below. So if that feels interesting to you, you are welcome to subscribe. And if you are already a regular watcher, hello there. So how is it possible to move forward when you are burdened by survivor's guilt, shame, and a lack of direction? How can you begin to heal when everything feels so overwhelming? Let's walk through some insights and research-backed tips to help you take control of your life step by step. And while we are not going to offer quick fixes, we will explore a path that leads to recovery and empowerment. So let's start with the fundamental issue of survivor's shame. After enduring narcissistic abuse or leaving a cult, it's common for people to feel immense guilt and shame. These emotions are often not related to the abuse itself, but the behaviors and the decisions that we made during this time. Research by Wilson, Drozdek, and Turkovic highlights two types of guilt that survivors experience. One for actions that felt out of character, and the other for simply surviving when others didn't. These feelings are driven by the unrealistic expectations that we set for ourselves, believing that we should have done better or handled things differently. According to Paulovy's concept of false hope syndrome, we sometimes set lofty, unattainable goals for ourselves, such as thinking we can just move on or fix everything overnight. This leads to burnout, self-doubt, and ultimately it makes recovery feel even more impossible. Now, it's essential to acknowledge these feelings without letting them define our healing journey. Forgiving ourselves for past actions, especially those that were a survival mechanism, is crucial. As hard as it might be, understanding that these behaviors were our way of coping and keeping ourselves safe can help ease the shame. And it's not about perfection, it's about accepting our human limitations and allowing ourselves to heal in a realistic way. You have to give yourself time to release the pressure and embrace self-compassion. Moving on, let's talk about self-care. After a traumatic experience, figuring out where to start can be very overwhelming. It's easy to feel lost, confused, and unsure of what will truly help. To be really honest, in my own healing journey, I thought that self-care was really just a buzzword, and then I soon realized it was actually essential to recover. And self-care can be applied in very practical, simple things throughout the day, like taking a longer shower, making your breakfast with intention, watching your favorite movie because you want to, no matter what other people think of your favorite movie. The process of healing requires a deep internal discovery, an understanding that you have to find fulfillment within yourself before you can share it with others. And this internal discovery is important because it's very easy to fall into the trap of thinking that happiness is only real when shared, like the quote from the movie Into the Wild. But real healing starts with you, and it's the foundation that you need to build before you can engage with others in a truly meaningful way, not in a people-pleasing, please validate me way. A common obstacle in trauma healing is what is called the all or nothing mentality. This type of cognitive distortion can make it feel like for every step forward you take, you are taking 2 steps back. Realizing that this is just a cognitive distortion and that even through the healing, there is a bit of regression and that is part of the process is really difficult. But therapy or seeking any form of psychological support can make a world of a difference in moving from confusion to clarity. In fact, Duran et al. Emphasized that coercive control, a manipulation tactic commonly used in abusive relationships and cults, can leave you feeling mentally drained and disconnected from yourself and from other people. Seeking professional help can teach you how to navigate these impacts more effectively and develop healthier coping strategies moving forward. Now let's talk about codependency. If you have ever experienced narcissistic abuse or involvement with a peer pressure group or cult, you might find it difficult to maintain healthy boundaries and a sense of self. Codependency, sometimes also referred as relationship addiction, is marked by lack of autonomy, blurred boundaries, and loss of individual identity, which leaves people vulnerable to further exploitation. Morgan Jr. explains that when we become codependent, we can become targets for manipulation in both toxic relationships and harmful groups. Cults in particular thrive in emotional vulnerability, offering a false sense of belonging and security. They manipulate people through control tactics, isolating them and pushing them to conform to a set of beliefs or behaviors that erase personal identity altogether. And these coercive control tactics go beyond partner abuse, and it can affect individuals in group settings as well. Of course, being exploited in that way when you are already feeling vulnerable can make it incredibly difficult to leave or resist. But that is why therapy is such an essential tool in recovery. It can help you reconnect with your inner strength, regain autonomy, empowering you to stay firm and secure in your skin again. So as we wrap up today's discussion, just remember that healing is a long journey and you need to be patient with yourself and give yourself kindness. This journey of healing is long because it includes overcoming things like guilt and shame and unrealistic expectations, and basically slowly rebuilding your sense of self. And it's not about you reaching a state of healing that is perfect, but about moving towards self-compassion and creating internal strength that is needed for you to reclaim your life. So if you have ever been through experiences like this, or have a friend that has lived through abusive experiences like this, encourage them to seek professional support, or at least take small steps towards self-care and self-love, because with time, it is possible to rediscover autonomy and inner power. And now that we have covered all these different buzzwords that actually have a deeper underlying meaning, let's discuss this in the comment section. You don't have to agree with me. I always encourage healthy discussions and reading your perspectives. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and there will be a new video here if you want to watch more, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.